63 and the Porsche 911, of course. I hope you did enjoy our boutique, of course, and an afternoon full of history of both brands. And we will dig a little bit deeper now into the heritage of these both iconic brands and, of course, the partnership that they both have together. And obviously, I'm not going to do this by myself, but I'm going to have three gentlemen joining me up here on stage. And I would love for you to give them a warm round of applause right now. First one is Frédéric Arnault from TAG Heuer. Then we have Robert Ader from Porsche and long-term brand ambassador, racing driver, and actor Patrick Dempsey. Welcome. Welcome on stage, gentlemen. Thank you for making the time. And of course, it's a very exciting night to celebrate this very iconic and special partnership of these two brands. And Frédéric, I would suggest that we start this one out. I can imagine that you did feel a profound sense of pride this morning as, you know, the special kickoff went down, basically. Could you maybe share the thoughts on this very special partnership between these two brands and maybe also the novelties of a special timepiece?
Sure, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm very proud to be here today in front of you all, and we'll enjoy a very great dinner after this fantastic event. It's a special moment for us. First, we're opening a flagship boutique here in Munich, such an important city in the world, in Europe, of course in Germany. We had a boutique already. For those of you who knew it, it was one of the smallest we had in the world, one of the best performing as well. And so it was necessary for us to really make it a statement, and now it's one of the biggest we have in the world, with an amazing first floor that will have a great view on the park when it's going to be done. And it's a special day today because we're also celebrating the joint anniversary, 6 years of both the Carrera, as you were saying, and the 911, and with the launch of a watch. Since we launched the partnership in 2020, people were really expecting us to launch products, and we started off with Carrera Sports that had touches of Porsche in the design, but people were asking for more, and they thought, okay, when are you going to bring some true innovation, some true technical difference? And of course it takes time, so we couldn't bring it at start, but since the beginning we started working on it. And with this watch, the Chronosprint, we are launching a new movement, and a new movement for TAG Heuer, of course, but also in the world of watchmaking, where we can see easily the 0 to 100 that takes for the 911, 9 seconds, 0.11. Thank you, Robert, for being here, and of course, Patrick, who's the best ambassador for the joint partnership TAG Heuer and Porsche. I mean, we're working together with TAG Heuer, and you were with Porsche, and for you, I remember discussions we had. It makes for you so much sense that both brands will go together.
Thank you so much, and obviously congratulations on this launch of this very exciting timepiece, the TAG Heuer Carrera Chronosprint Porsche. And Robert, let's continue with you. So we heard a little bit on the partnership from the TAG Heuer side. Now I would love to know from you how, you know, this partnership aligns really with Porsche's commitment to very important values, I would say, just as performance, but also precision and innovation as well. And what aspects of this new timepiece really resonate most strongly with the very unique heritage that Porsche has in the automotive world?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening also from our side. I think you mentioned that I think the brands share a lot of values which are very similar. This precision, this competition actually that we love, and I think there's one thing that also the brands share, and this is the love for detail. And I think if you look at the new Chronosprint watch, and if you look, for example, at this red area between the 12 and the 4, this is actually inspired by the dashboards of the 70s, where there was a recommended speed area in the 911, and so there are lots of little details, I think, that you can see in the watch, but also if you look at the history of the brands, I mean, the name Carrera obviously unites us. Also, both brands were founded by true entrepreneurs, so we have a little Formula One history, even with a TAG turbo engine. So I think the history unites both brands, but also, of course, the outlook in the future. We do a lot together in motorsports. TAG Heuer World Championship in Formula E next year, hopefully, and so I think there's a lot to expect from this partnership.
And I really enjoyed, Frederic, how you said that Patrick really is the perfect match for this very specific launch of this timepiece. It seems to be like the match made in heaven, really, because, you know, Patrick, you are not only a big lover of the racing sports, but also you really do care about the artistry of timekeeping, really. So maybe you can share with us if there was a moment or a feature of this partnership, or is, that really, you know, revs up your excitement here.
Well, I think the combination of finally coming together. I remember the initial conversations we had at Monaco a few years ago, and for me it was always these two brands had to they had to come together. It's part of Jack Heuer's history. You know, one of the great things that he finally gave himself a present when he started to get successful was a 9/11, and that commemorated sort of a moment in his time of achievement. And certainly here we are 60 years later, with these two iconic images and brands coming together around the racing. So I love the history of it. My first purchase as a kid was, my first big job was a 356 when I was 19 years old. It was a movie called Can't Buy Me Love, and I still have that car today. So the rich history and the heritage, to me, is the most important. And to see both companies honoring that is very important, because you see a lot of companies that forget that and they lose their way along the way, and this just kind of grounds both of them in a beautiful. It makes my life much easier doing events, I'll tell you that. And we get to go racing as well. And it's the precision, the innovation. Like this new movement, the snail movement, is extraordinary. I saw it for the first time a couple days ago, and I literally got goosebumps, because I was like, this is amazing. This is something I've not seen before. And at the time, you know, these designs were revolutionary. And Jack Heuer came up with Carrera because he was at Sebring. He was the official timekeeper there. And he started talking to the Rodriguez parents, because there were these two Mexican drivers who were young, hot shoes at the time. And they were very grateful that they didn't do the race. They were too young to do the Carrera. It was an incredibly dangerous race, and he kept going, you know, that's a great name, that's a great name. And also Porsche has Carrera as well. So it's just perfect synergy. And to see us here together at this moment, 60 years later, is quite special. And it's been the best partnership I could have asked for. I'm so fortunate and so grateful to be a part of this. Some of the best memories of my life have been with both brands and both of you. I think what you're doing and your leadership is really inspiring and remarkable, and just elevating the brand. So hopefully we'll still be talking about this in 60 years' time.
Hopefully we will.
I don't know if I'll be around.
I would be down
Yeah.
to meet you guys back here. Definitely, let's take the moment on this. So Robert, we did mention quite a number of similarities so far. If there are more that we have not mentioned yet, please feel free to add them. But I can imagine that between those two very iconic brands, there are differences as well that maybe help or like one another, each other though, to develop, to learn from each other. Is that so?
Yeah, I think we touched a lot of similarities, and I mean, we have some exciting stuff to come up. We talked about on stage today already. Also the Carrera Panamericana as one of the most iconic races in the world, only happened for between 50 and 54. This is something that also brings the brands together, and we have some nice plans for that. But also, I mean, it's also absolutely right that we can learn from each other, because we are both luxury brands but in completely different industries. And I think that's also something, if we look at what Frederic and TAG Heuer is doing, for example, this, and I think we saw it in the boutique today, this passion for retail. There are some things that I think also we as the automotive industry can learn from that, and maybe vice versa. But I think that's also this business side of the partnership is also very, very interesting to us. Yeah.
And I mean, it's also always very valuable to be able to advance with a strong partner, for sure. Patrick, you already mentioned a little bit how deep your passion really is for cars and watches. I would love to learn, or I'm sure we would love to learn a little bit more about how this passion started, where it originated, and what fuels it really. up until this day, and maybe, you know, into the next 60 years, obviously.
But I always loved racing. You know, my first passion was ski racing, which goes to the heritage with Jack Heuer and the timepieces with the Olympics. So that fits perfectly. My father was always on the road. He was a traveling salesman, and on Friday nights, he'd always bring me home a little Matchbox car. So that's where sort of my passion for cars and the shape and these beautiful sculptural elements came to be. Now they're much bigger. I don't have the little box to put them in, although I wish I had to put them in. But that's where it really started. The sound, I think the design, the beauty, the technology, all of those things make it really special. And what's great about these two brands is they're luxury, but yet they're accessible, right? It's not too elitist. You can get into it. You know, and also when you're out in the world, if you're driving in a car, people come up to you with a smile. They want to see you, and I think it's really important to embrace that. Even with the watches, people are excited to see what you have on. It's a conversation piece. It's a way to bring people together. It's a sense of community. And I was talking to a gentleman here as part of the Porsche Club. That's an important part of the history as well. From the very beginning, people wanted to get together to share their passion and enthusiasm. You see that in the car world, you see that in the watch world, and to bring it together like this is really quite something. And also in competition, which you talked about, you want to perform. The whole notion behind building this car, and Porsche in general, was to go racing. It was about performance. And with Jack Heuer, it was about capturing time precisely, innovating. How can we do a better job at that? And we're continuing to see that. And those are the things I love, and the teamwork, the fellowship, the camaraderie. So having this union and this partnership, those are the values that we need to consider and remember going forward. And we are to this day. It's nice to see the dialogue, the support, and wanting each one to succeed.
And hopefully we're going to continue with exactly these values that you just mentioned into the future. So Frederic, this would be my last question to you as well. It sounds like a very and highly successful partnership already. Everyone seems highly committed and excited for this partnership to start. Looking into the future though, what are novelties that we can look forward to regarding these two brands?
So I won't reveal any secrets today.
Oh my God, there's so much cool stuff coming though. It's really cool.
Even to Patrick, as he said, just saw the watch 3 days ago, the Chronosprint. We do brainstorm on ideas though, and we have a lot of innovation that's coming. This was one of the first true innovation on the watch. More to do, of course, on watches, but maybe something we're working on that's also an amazing project for us. We brought Porsche in the watches and took inspiration from their engineering, the material, their design. But what if TAG Heuer started having a take at automotive and cars and started bringing a TAG Heuer spirit inside a Porsche? And so this is, of course, a longer-term project because the processes to build a car are much longer than they are to do a watch, which is already quite long. But maybe as a teaser, that's something that will be quite amazing to see in the years to come.
And that's actually quite an amazing teaser. So thank you for that. We're definitely looking forward to see the TAG Heuer spirit in a Porsche for sure. And yeah, let's give the three gentlemen a round of applause. Thank you very much, Robert, Patrick, and Philip for your moment.
Thank you very much.